Who scored here against Manchester City last season in the First Division, has bounced back into the limelight with a simple goal, coming after Morley had missed at the other end. McInally had got the run of the ball, but Nixon will surely criticise himself for allowing the close-range shot to get away from him. Brightwell. The width provided by White. Lake almost ran across White's line, but it was fortunate that he did, because White really had lost control. And Paul Lake regained it and has won the throw. That's a corner. Morley waiting on the far side of the goal as Paul Simpson, who's taking the corner, looks. Stewart. Brightwell clips it back in again. Spink lost it twice. Simpson curls it, and when the goalkeeper had to redeem his own errors, although Villa are protesting that Nigel Spink was fouled, Spink was equal to the task. Simpson again with the corner. Lake was there. And the final effort was from David White. McInally. Well, are quite prepared to play it wide as well as forward. For those who often simplify the Graham Taylor method, it does bear closer examination. It certainly would suit Manchester City to get more width into their play. Stewart's mistake. McInally with a thrust that has led to a chance for Andy Gray. It all opened up for him when City were caught turning, when Paul Stewart lost the ball. McInally was most purposeful, and Gray's shot thudded behind for the corner off Hinchcliffe. Gray again, the long throw specialist. Thompson. It's Lillis trying to turn it back. And really, Gary Thompson was powerful and disturbing to Hinchcliffe, who for a second or two was favourite to get the ball away and didn't. Variety to the corner, but still Thompson there to meet it. Gallagher with his natural left foot. Thompson so strong in the air. Indeed, Villa playing to their strengths then. Gage. It's skipped away from Hinchcliffe to suit Thompson. Birch, who is sharply critical of himself, Paul Birch, that he doesn't score enough goals. He set himself a target of 10 this season, and so far he's only got 4. And the disappointment there, evident that he couldn't direct the shot on target. It was no more than half a chance, though. Aston Villa with their tails up. Gray, who is blessed with a lot of natural ability. He's still, by his own admission, learning the game. But he's got front players like McInally, who will run and run all day in pursuit of the pass. Morley. City had the advantage. Morley was impeded. And here he is. Still Morley, and Simpson, no. It was good refereeing earlier in that City attack, and Morley picked himself up to be the player really threatening Nigel Spink and to get the rebound off the goalkeeper, as Daly had done earlier in the half at the other end, but Simpson couldn't reach it. Morley making himself more and more available as the half goes on, a measure of his mood. Stewart. They've let him turn, but Keown didn't let him get past him. Really has made progress this season, Paul Stewart. Stewart won it. Off the line by Gallagher from Morley. City getting closer and closer. It was a very deep corner, and Stewart pulled away to guide the ball back across the face of the goal, where Morley met it. And Gidman only drives it against McAnally. Here's Daly. Stewart. Villa were caught with players forward on the counter-attack, and the flag is up. And Manchester City won't like this. It was a very tight one. Stewart's gone across to protest. Villa relieved. Simpson maybe applauding the pace of the move that had Morley away, but offside. The linesman was right in line, but it was close. Lake. It's a brave attempted tackle by Gage. Good header out by Evans. Gidman. Morley. Well, it was flying wide from Gidman until Morley reacted. It's an eventful start to his Manchester City career. Everything but a goal so far. And a push by Evans on Morley. He's 25 years old, and he won't lack fitness for this level, the way they train their players under Graham Carr at Northampton. Simpson. Brightwell. It's a very difficult phase of the game for Aston Villa. It looks spectacular from Gidman, but Spink took it like he was taking an apple from a tree, with almost disinterest. Birch. McAnally, Daly free again, and this time the partnership that brought the goal couldn't link up. Stewart from Morley's back flick, the shot taken early, and so nearly successfully. That will please Mel Machin and Jimmy Frizzell. It was very much the direct route against the direct team. Morley on for Stewart, no time wasted. Well, Thompson had come short for the ball played to feet, and Birch couldn't oblige. I think the half-time whistle would suit Aston Villa at the moment. City trying to keep the tempo going. Lillis did well for his side then. But Villa have conceded a free kick. I just wonder, in the recent bad weather in the Manchester area, whether Manchester City have been able to rehearse their set plays in the immediate lead-up to this important fixture. Stewart. Well, I think Manchester City might be given a second chance. Stewart has changed his position now. But maybe he'll still be the player to shoot. Hinchcliffe is there as well. Here's Stewart, clips it, and again, it's nonchalant from Nigel Spink. So Aston Villa go in at half-time, a goal in front, the goal from Tony Daly after 13 minutes. They've had other chances, but so too have Manchester City, particularly as the half progressed. And when Paul Stewart here guided the ball across the goal, Morley met it, Gallagher got it off the line to keep Aston Villa still optimistic about extending their good away run. Welcome back to Main Road. John Bond, what's impressed you about the first 45 minutes?
Well, Aston Villa impressed me tremendously with all their enthusiasm which they're playing with, and the two front people especially are causing Clements and Redmond at the back all sorts of problems. And the way that Mal Machin wants his City's defence to play, I'm afraid that I can see a few more goals going into the back of their net, because they're not covering one another and they're pulling them all over the shop at this moment in time. Manchester City, I don't think, are playing the game anywhere near as easily and as early as what they were doing at the start of the season, and I think they've got to try and get the game together very quickly.
Stewart again, a splendid target. Brightwell. Again, Mark Lillis had covered the run. The two close together again. This time on the charge from Spink's long clearance, and it worked for them. Tony Daly, as the game develops, will be contemplating whether the honour of scoring the winning goal is going to rest with him. And here is Daly. He's got a lot of natural running ability, backed up with speed, and on this occasion perception as well. Birch's cross, Thompson's header, and what would have been a wonderful goal didn't quite materialise. So much of the work by Daly, and I'm glad that Birch was involved, because it's terribly tempting to talk about Daly-Thompson in this particular attack. It was Gary Thompson who headed at Nixon. City seeking a goal which could prevent a 5th consecutive home defeat in the second division. Keown and Evans in the centre of the defence, holding their own at the moment. Simpson looking to take on Gage, who was equal to the task. And McAnally rampaging again. Redmond stopped those two attacking partners in crime, McAnally and Thompson, getting their act together once more on the break. Brightwell made his own luck. City flooding into the middle, but not there. Although Keown cleared it behind for a corner. White again looking to come towards the ball. Stewart! hardly saw it. Just thrust his head at it after the deflection. Only Crystal Palace in the second division have scored more goals than Manchester City. But they badly need to recapture that goal touch now. White. Well, Gallagher is learning with every game he plays at this level. Stewart again. Spinks lost it, and it was Gallagher again who intervened in a most timely way. That's really what the player on the post is there for, to help out the goalkeeper when needed, and Spink needed Gallagher then. Again, Stewart caused the trouble. A couple of other touches before Gallagher got the ball to safety. Imre Berardi asked for a transfer last week. His request was granted. But Manchester City look to him now in place of Ian Brightwell. Berardi on as the game reaches its three-quarter mark. Still, and it's surprising really, given the skirmishes around goal, Tony Daly's 13th minute effort separates the sides. Well, he's certainly thrown himself body and soul into the action, Brightwell. That's very much his strength. Thompson was sleeping, caught offside. Berardi, White, that's Morley, and that's Stewart, and that's Morley. Simpson. Well, if it was a hand, that could hardly have been intentional. It nearly cut Alan Evans in two. But Manchester City were lining up their shots then. Villa's lead looked precarious. Clements beaten to it. Here's McAnally. Furthest forward for Villa was Tony Daly. He isn't now, it's McAnally, and he's well found by Birch. But it all counts for nothing because the flag is up. Paul Stewart has never stopped calling for the ball. And Berardi at least is giving Villa something else to think about at the back. Gallagher trying to make City think. Oh, well played, because Daly sent space. In comes Thompson. Bernie Gallagher could also accept the congratulations. He ran with the ball for a great distance, and when the cross came in, Thompson was stooping in and forced it home. And Manchester City now really do face an uphill fight. City now trying to catch Villa in the euphoria of having doubled their advantage. They do break from all positions, really, to Aston Villa. And if you've wondered how they've mustered such a magnificent away run, you're really seeing why in this phase of the game. They've lured City forward, and then they've knocked them out, it seems, with the counter-punch. And that's Keown round the goalkeeper. Grateful that the ball suddenly was back within his reach. Daly. With Brightwell out of City's midfield, the back four are even more exposed by these direct thrusts from Aston Villa. Graham Taylor just masked down on the bench there, but his natural caution about the logic of continuing to win away, not really worth thinking of the way the game has turned out. Villa are winning away from Villa Park again. Bernie Gallagher, who's had to defend a lot in this game against David White's pace, played a major part in Aston Villa's second goal. A terrifically positive run. Thompson. Play on, says the referee. Here's Lake. Blocked by Gray. If either team is going to score again, you feel it will be the visitors. And Gary Thompson, almost on cue. When he's in the side, you have to deliver the crosses, and they're coming now for Aston Villa. Thompson again, and he slipped at the crucial moment. Morley. An early ball from Gallagher into space between the full-back and the centre-back, Kidman and Clements. This time it was Mark Lillis who'd launched himself on the run. But the real route to goal for Aston Villa in this phase of the game, the aerial strength, textbook heading from Gary Thompson. Stewart. Paul Stewart has isolated Martin Keown again and got the better of him. Lake. Hinchcliffe. Then Morley. Then Berardi. That's the way it's been for Manchester City. They've looked for an extra touch around goal, which is always the sign of lack of confidence, to try to make sure. A hit and hope might on another day have ended up in the back of the net. Daly. Redmond just across to cover. Stewart. Oh, that's superbly hit. It's a continuing tale of frustration for Paul Stewart, caused this time by the agility of Nigel Spink. He was going his own way this time with Stewart, and very nearly got the reward he deserved. Another away win in this astonishing sequence for Aston Villa. Manchester City condemned to another home defeat, a 5th in a row in the second division. And that severely damaged their promotion ambitions. Villa are much closer to reaching their aims. Tony Daly gave them the lead after 13 minutes. And young Bernie Gallagher, the 20-year-old left-back, set them on their way to the second with a tremendous run forward. A move that was finished off by the diving Gary Thompson. Manchester City have worried about conceding goals from crosses all season, but they were exposed long before the cross came in by a young player who's fitting in well to a much-changed side, masterminded by Graham Taylor. Manchester City really in the match until this point, but Daly clipped it in. Clements was striving to get there. He might have even got a touch on the ball himself. But Aston Villa have beaten Manchester City at Main Road by 2-0.
Yeah, I think when you was watching Aston Villa play today, you were seeing a side that gets the utmost and best out of every one of their players. And I really do think it reflects very highly on Graham Taylor and seeing what a great job he is doing at the football club. I thought generally Villa were the best side throughout, and I think they deserved to win. I thought the two strikers were magnificent. I thought McInally, who I wasn't impressed with when I saw him play at Oldham earlier on in the season, and Thompson caused him all sorts of problems.
Do you worry for the young players that now 5 home defeats in the league on the row, that might sap them and damage them irreparably?
Yeah, I think it could damage them. I think that they've done enough now to realise what they can do in the future, so I don't think they'll lose the way altogether, but I think that they desperately need somebody to give them some help on that football field. Mella obviously gives them all the help off the football field, but they need somebody to give them a little bit of guidance out there, and unless they get that, they could fall by the wayside, and that would be disastrous and disappointing, really, for them.
Have you fallen by the wayside?
No, I hope not. No, I enjoyed it today.
I read that you say you don't want to come back into the game.
No, I certainly don't want to come back into the game unless I can get to a good football club, something like Manchester City or a lesser team, but that is well run. I certainly am not interested in going to a Birmingham City or anything like that anymore.
Hasn't been a very good week for you personally, has it?
No, not with being brought up against Everton, and then you know, I thought I'd done okay today, but I did chance a little glance across to see if my number had come up again when I scored an own goal, although it was a push in the back. And
you got the final touch, did you?
Yeah, so I was quite disgusted really with the linesman. I asked the referee where was he, and he said the linesman was online. So, you know, for him to miss such a blatant push, I mean, he's shoved me on about a foot, and I powered it in the back of the net, and I was going to leave it, and he's pushed me right onto the ball. So I asked the referee where he was, and he said he was back there, and he just smiled at me. So there's no justice in the game.
The second goal just sewed it up for you. I wonder, is Gary Thompson claiming it?
Yes, I believe. I mean, quite honestly, is there any reason why he shouldn't?
Kenny Clements has told us that he powered it in and he was pushed.
Is that right? Do you know, that's news to me. I mean, my view of it was that Gary Thompson had headed it.
That was my view, I hasten to add as well.
At the end of the day, I'm not really all that concerned because the goal was allowed to stand, but I would think Gary Thompson will claim that one.
So Aston Villa's lead is stretched to 6 points. Crystal Palace were beaten 2-1 at Middlesbrough, who move up to third above Millwall, whose match at Birmingham was a victim of the weather. Time now to look further back with the feature which so many of you enjoyed, ITV's Memory Lane, and days when Manchester City against Aston Villa was a First Division fixture, and a very eventful one at that.
Back by Francis from Cowans. The rightful back heel that went for McDonald. Reed. It will come here for Hutchison. And what a fine strike too. Evans' header, and the reflexes from Corrigan as Wiz tries to force it in. It was a splendid save. Now Francis, still Francis. Reeves is with him if he needs the help, but Rimmer denies him. This time the free kick goes to City. Even though Bremner came off the worst, a blow to the scalp. Reeves. Chewett! Chris Jones for Baker. That was nicely done. Splendid work by Rimmer to thwart what would have been an exciting goal. After faced by a two-man wall. Harida off the line. Mark Jones. And now can Witt make something with the header here, and in goes Shaw. It's a goal that means a lot to Gary Shaw. Williams. It's 3 against 3 at the moment. Williams trailed by Harida, and now Bremner, who gets past Caton cleverly. And Williams, an important save from a goalkeeper who hasn't had a great deal to do in this second half. 1-2 between Shaw and Witt again. And Shaw has Bremner in space and Mortimer, and Williams foils the solo effort.
Heads Witt on the edge of the 6-yard box. Knocking it back. Shaw. And a goal. Cowans, good play then from Bremner. Still Bremner looking for Shaw within the area. And a goal almost now. It hit the post. Well, for a moment I thought then that Williams had scored. Power to Chewett. Reed. At the determination of Cowans. Reeves, now Chewett. Chance here for Hartford. What a goal from Asa Hartford, and what a bonus for Manchester City. And what with the kick. Witt made the run across the area. It was Evans with the header, and down from Bremner. With Shaw. Cleared off the line by Kevin Bond. Not away yet. Is Evans. Again cleared, this time by Ransom. Cowans. Almost another chance then for Shaw. Mortimer. Bremner. Furious action. Evans. And away by Ransom for a corner. Hectic pressure then on the Manchester City goal. And Gary Shaw, and I think he'll feel again, he will have added to
The Dean Court crowd to easily its biggest of the season. And after some good work by Mark Lillis and Tony Daly, they nearly had a very early goal to cheer. It was the creative Tony Daly who did put Aston Villa ahead, finishing off his excellent work with a splendidly placed goal. Minutes later, he nearly foxed Peyton again, but not quite. Bournemouth looked to have a good case for a penalty refused in this tumble. Bernard Gallagher, I'm sure, pleased that the referee saw it his way. Having withstood some pressure in the second half, Aston Villa seemed to sew it up with this excellent goal from David Platt. But Bournemouth came back and scored in the dying seconds of the game. Newsom's header put past Nigel Spink by his own defender, Andy Gray.
Villa's fall from grace prompted the return of their leading scorer, Warren Aspinall. It was his pace and enthusiasm that was to create most of Villa's openings. Shrewsbury's revival under Ian McNeil has reshaped their side into an attractive mould. Their finishing, however, still lacks bite. The game smouldered until 10 minutes before half-time. Gray's perfectly delivered pass releasing Aspinall to embarrass the lumbering figure of Pratley. Three minutes later, David Geddes was harshly ruled to have fouled Lillis. But Aspinall, having refused to hand the ball to Andy Gray, the recognised penalty taker, calmly stroked the ball wide. Aspinall almost won another penalty when he was touched off balance by Perks, but the referee said goal kick. Villa's frustration even spread to the normally unflappable Graham Taylor. And as they've been doing of late, they were left to defend their lead rather unconvincingly. But at this stage of the season, 3 points is all that matters.
Graham Taylor wanted a bumper bank holiday crowd. He got it. More than 36,000 saw this vital promotion game. Bradford had the best early chance, but John Hendry could only squander it. Then Gary Thompson's charge led to Oliver misplacing his back pass. Warren Aspinall almost converted it. Minutes later, Aspinall missed an even better chance. It looked like being another frustrating home performance. But then Villa scored a goal worthy of the First Division. Gage with the cross, Platt with the finish. The anxiety seemed to disappear from Villa. They almost made it 2 just before half-time. Again, Warren Aspinall in the clear, but Tomlinson beat out his shot. In the second half, Bradford pressed forwards, Ormonroyd missing their best chance. In the end, though, delight for Aston Villa and their goal scorer David Platt. But their second division drama still has 1 or 2 acts still to run. Travelling fans saw a tense, anxious affair. Villa could really have wrapped it up in the second half. Gary Thompson hitting the bar with this looping header. An almighty scramble then to clear the ball. 8 minutes later and David Platt did the same thing. But it remained goalless, and there followed an agonising 8 minutes as the Villa players and supporters waited for the results from Bradford and Middlesbrough. In the end, it was better news than anyone could have hoped for. Both rivals had lost. Goal difference had pushed Villa and the city of Birmingham back into the big time. There were joyful scenes on the pitch and on the terraces as the celebrations began. The players and the fans had spent the last period of the game listening to rumour and counter-rumour, but at last there was a happy ending. Amid all the backslapping and champagne, a tribute to the thousands who'd followed Villa this season.
They're an incredible bunch. They've followed us all over the place. They must have known something. So many people have said to me it's going to go to the Swindon game, you know, and I've hoped that it hasn't, but it has, and we've done it. Brilliant, unbelievable.
I've only lived in Birmingham for 10 months now, but it seems to me there's a resurgence of a lot of things, socially, economically, and it wants to get up and it wants to go, and it needs a First Division football club. So not only for Aston Villa supporters, but for the whole city of Birmingham, I think this is a...
With 41,000 packed into the ground, the biggest crowd of the day, and the champions springing a surprise with the return of their star striker Ian Rush, the Villa players could have had some excuse for nerves or even sheer fright, but not a bit of it. If they were billed to play Frank Bruno to Liverpool's Mike Tyson, they hadn't read the script. Graham Taylor had decided the best way to stop Liverpool was close, sometimes very close marking. It didn't always work, but fortunately when John Barnes did wriggle free, he let himself down. Just before half-time, Villa deservedly took the lead. A tussle in the corner, and as the cross comes over, Alan McInally beats the Liverpool defence. That lead, though, didn't last too long, but Villa can certainly claim the equaliser was dubious. The free kick is given, then taken from completely the wrong place. There's nothing wrong with Ray Houghton's finish, but you can excuse some bewildered looks and understand Liverpool's celebrations. But well though Villa had battled for the point, Liverpool very nearly snatched the victory right at the end. Ian Rush still isn't quite back to his very best, but Villa proved this weekend they can more than hold their own. Now they're back in the top flight.
And who's the leading Midlands club at the moment? Well, it's Derby County, who beat Newcastle 2-0 at the baseball ground on Saturday. The best of the action coming in the second half.
How would you fancy making your senior debut at 18 for the team with the worst defence in the Football League? That was Tony Elliott, and 45 seconds later, he was watching Derek Mountfield's header fly past him. Ian Atkins reckoned that the only way to stop Chris Price was like this. It earned him a booking, there was a free kick, and Kevin Gage made it 2. If 2 down in 10 minutes was bad, hang on, it gets worse for Birmingham. Gage may wear 5, but not many men who you'd normally expect in that number hit the ball quite like that. Graham Taylor has been so impressed by the way Ian Olney scores goals for the reserve and youth teams, he got his chance ahead of more household names. 17 minutes gone, Aston Villa 4 up. Would Tony Elliott ever get off the ground? They never said it would be like this at the FA School of Excellence. 6-0 ahead on aggregate, referee Keith Hackett must have been tempted to call it off. No wonder the heavens opened. There really didn't seem anything to look forward to in the second half. Maybe perhaps the infuriating Tony Daly. This the second of 2 marvellous runs, but you felt cheated that there was no goal at the end of it. It doesn't need words, though, to describe this Daly magic. "5-0 on the night, 7-0 on aggregate, and most of the near 20,000 crowd would go home happy. But one man who wouldn't, Birmingham's Tony Elliott. A consoling word and pat from his opposite number, Nigel Spink, unlikely to easily erase the memory of his first team baptism.
Turned out nicely again in Birmingham, didn't it?
Spurs, with only 2 points from the last 16 available, and with those deducted, went to Villa Park in bottom place. Terry Fenwick's 5th of the season wasn't uplifting, it was an own goal. Here's Paul Gascoigne, the £2 million man, to Chris Waddle, who's having such a sparkling season. But a reckless challenge by Nigel Spink, there was no need for that. A penalty, the chance for Terry Fenwick to make amends. His 4th successful penalty of the season. Aston Villa's first home win of the season came last week against Everton, and the man who set them on the way, Tony Daly, he got the winner. After Alan McInally's fine run, Daly making it 2, Spurs still rock bottom.
Sometimes it takes a shock to jolt a team into action. It shocked Nigel Spink. It shocked the whole of the Aston Villa team and crowd. Neil Ruddock, though, was a very happy boy. Millwall's early success, though, didn't last. David Platt showed the aggression Graham Taylor's been demanding. It released Alan McInally, and that put Aston Villa level. It took a very special goal to stamp Villa's authority on the game. Watch the speed and determination of McInally, 70 yards from goal and all alone. He rode 3 tackles and his luck. It's the sort of goal you don't see very often. Then David Platt sprung the offside trap for once, drew horn, and that was number 3. With another home tie in the next round, the scent of cup success is in the air at Villa Park, especially for Alan McInally.
12 hours later, the McInally household bore evidence of that one-man show. But the man who...
Ironically against his old club, Aston Villa. 3 minutes before half-time, Steve Bruce with a thumping header from Gordon Strachan's corner, but no celebrations for the 2nd anniversary of Alex Ferguson's appointment as manager. United lost the lead for the 5th league match in a row. Alan McInally is in irresistible form for Villa. Another storming run. And Gordon Cowan's arriving at the far post for his first goal since his return from Italy. Another solid performance by the away day specialists, Aston Villa.
League leader.
And Bruce! Header from Strachan's corner, which was perfectly delivered, matched by Bruce's header. Strachan. Hughes has gone to the far post. Robson in the centre of the goal. Strachan looking for a silky touch rather than an early cross. And McInally. This is the sort of break that he's turning into his trademark. Platt is in the middle. McInally taking on Bruce. And Gordon Cowans has equalised. Gordon Cowans, his first goal back since his 3 years in Italy. And what a stage to get it on at Old Trafford.
Indoor cricket's been growing rapidly in popularity since its introduction to the...
4 minutes later, McInally claimed his 2nd from Cowan's corner, thanks to a little help from keeper Forrest. It wasn't then until the second half that Villa got their 3rd, David Platt the scorer. That was the first of 4 goals for Platt in just 18 minutes. His 3rd stemmed from a brilliant solo run, and the 4th he claimed even though it was courtesy of a fortunate ricochet from Mountfield. Ipswich scored twice in the last 7 minutes, first through Stockwell. And then, right at the end, Atkinson scored the second, but Villa were convincingly through to the last 8. Of late looked like continuing when Andy Gray opened the scoring following a strong run from midfield. And it was soon to be 2. Gray's ball-winning skills and presence of mind made the second for Alan McInally. McInally knew where he wanted it, and Gray duly obliged. A neat 1-2 with Tony Mowbray, and a shot through the legs of Callum O'Hanlon made it 2. But then Villa's brittle defence allowed Middlesbrough back in, Mark Brennan capitalising on a mix-up between Spink and Keown. In the second half, Borough equalised. Stuart Gray was beaten in the air, and Hamilton applied the finishing touch. Back though came Villa. Platt produced mayhem in Middlesbrough's defence. It would have been 3 but for Tony Daly. Soon after that, Villa were down to 10 men when Martin Keown was sent off for a second bookable defence. And his departure allowed Mowbray to capitalise in the air. It gave Middlesbrough the lead for the first time. But McInally confirmed his status as the First Division's leading scorer with an equaliser. A typically determined run and the sort of finish Villa fans have come to expect.
Are an absolute treat to watch at home these days. Kevin Gage taking advantage of a defensive lapse and setting up Alan McInally. Coming up now, one of the best goals of the day and possibly of the season as well. That's Cowans with the outside of the foot. This is McInally away from Parker and a cross into the far corner. 25,000 crowd on their feet. Rangers had to replace the injured Maguire and Faraday. They went down to 10 men for a while when Coney had to go off, but Coney came back on, and that's the player-manager Trevor Francis with his 10th of the season. But Trevor also picked up a rare yellow card.
Well, for West Ham, 2 of the First Division's lemmings meeting at Villa Park. Villa hadn't scored for 5 games, hence the delight which greeted Tony Daly's well-taken opener in the very first minute. Well, prior to this April Fool's Day meeting, Villa had 2 points from 24, Luton 1 from 21. Desperate times, all right. And what a sickener for Villa. Not the first they've conceded like that in recent weeks. Credited to Ricky Hill, assisted by Lady Luck. But Villa won it, leaving Luton to contemplate the possibility of appearing in the Littlewoods Cup final and sliding into the second division in the same season. Substitute Newcastle's bluff. This was a game the Geordies had to win to convince the punters they'd more aces than jokers. Stuart Gray opened the scoring for Villa, who were 5 places better off when proceedings got underway. There was little to choose, though, in terms of morale. Villa's recent goals record, or lack of it, coupled with their away form, wasn't exactly comforting. David Platt's great effort after 74 minutes, though, gave them some breathing space. Well, as usual in Newcastle's case, a final flurry to fool the fans, or at least some of them. Glenn Roeder reduced the deficit and left the diehards believing in miracles. Mind you, Lazarus made a comeback, and so have Charlton in recent years.
Newcastle will confirm if you don't win your home matches, you're in.
Last result either Aston Villa or Middlesbrough wanted was a draw. That's how it ended, though, at Villa Park. The Borough going ahead midway through the second half. Peter Davenport with the final touch. Davenport, who rejected a move to the Villa. Borough then hopeful of a rare away victory, denied in the last couple of minutes. Nigel Callaghan with the cross, Stuart Gray with a soft but effective header, both still uncomfortable then on just 39 points.
Liverpool took a deserved lead when John Barnes turned Villa's new fullback Andy Coman inside out. Nigel Spink kept Villa in the game, finger-tipping Barnes' free kick to safety. But on the hour, Villa equalised thanks to David Platt's opportunism. Liverpool had plenty of chances to sew up the match, but Spink was determined to preserve a precious point.
rainbow cloud in the north will be...
It's a colourful match, not that you know from these pictures, a technical hitch. In terms of technique, Villa have the edge. Ian Olney scoring after 9 minutes. It was his first full game of the season after 4 appearances as substitute. He made his point and Villa secured both points thanks to Olney's second 16 minutes later. 2-0, Villa's first home win.
The tie of the round, Graham Taylor calls it. Well, that defeat at Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday hasn't prompted any alterations in his Aston Villa lineup. 2 familiar footballers in fresh colours this season. Paul McGrath from Manchester United in the centre of defence, and in attack Adrian Heath from Everton via Espanyol in Spain. Wolves, understandably, are prepared to take a gamble on Steve Bull's recovery from a flu virus. Nicky Clark comes into the defence in place of the suspended Shane Wesley. So 2 changes from Saturday's win at Ipswich, where Wolves operated with a sweeper, Gary Bellamy, for the first time under Graham Turner's management. Aston Villa have won this competition 3 times, Wolves twice. Tremendous tradition surrounding these 2 famous clubs, even though their league form in their respective divisions has not been quite what they would want at the start of this season. Wolves attacking the Holt end, and they've first forced a corner, which Robbie Dennison will take. Gooding with the header. Villa had a problem dealing with the corner at the near post. Adrian Heath through the centre. And Floyd Street to rapturous applause from the Wolves fans who are behind Mark Kendall's goal. And that's Tom Bennett, who's probably unknown to most of you. He was a reserve player here with Aston Villa, and he made his league debut for Wolves only last Saturday. A big night for him. Platt. Gallagher. David Platt got to it, and he'll be looking to get forward from midfield. And Platt has a great record of his own in this Littlewoods Cup competition. 6 goals in his last 3 cup ties. One for Wolves to keep an eye on, I'm sure. Dennison holding off Callaghan, and it's Much through the centre. He's got him behind Mountfield and drawn McGrath across. Bull is up with Andy Much, and Gooding coming from midfield to try and place it, and was really straining to get there. But Wolves, with just 1 ball forward, putting Aston Villa in serious difficulties then. Off Clark. Olney won it well, down to Heath. Bellamy's held him up temporarily. Gallagher, that's Gage. Oh, and Olney, an extraordinary save by Mark Kendall from Ian Olney. Great goalkeeping. And Kendall, in only his 2nd game back after double cartilage trouble, performing a miracle here. He hardly had time to see it, let alone stop it. Gallagher made to scurry by Gray. It's been a rip-roaring opening quarter of an hour. Price. Scored a lot of goals for Blackburn. He might get one here. It's touched in by Platt, and the Littlewoods Cup specialist has got on target again. Chris Price made it. And Wolves were backpedaling. Price had the shot, which wasn't a very good one. It came back off Clark. but Price kept on going. A little touch inside, and an open goal for Platt. Platt free again. Wolves have got to do something about this. Heath. Now Dennison. And again. Price will pick it off. Olney. Bull. On from Platt. It's calmly played by Bellamy first of all, and then Floyd Street. And Bull charges through the middle. That's his trademark. And Aston Villa were very nearly punished. Well, flu-ridden or not, Steve Bull is such a menace. And a very purposeful direct ball down the centre, which Bull reached and looped over Spink but wide. Olney. Down goes Street. Here's Heath. He's got away from Bellamy. Can he pick a flare out in the middle? Oh, was that over the line? No. Kenwell stopped an own goal. Adrian Heath looked up to see what was on in the centre. And it was Bennett who very nearly turned it over his own line from Olney's header. Outfield. Here's Much, having support from midfield now, and he gets it from Vaughan. Bull and Much. It hit McGrath. No suggestion of handball, despite the roar from the other end of the ground from the Wolves fans. Venus. Didn't quite come down quick enough to Bull the first time, but he might get through here. And then he follows in to Spink when it looked as though it was genuinely the goalkeeper's ball. But Aston Villa were creaking again here. It ran off Gallagher, and Spink had it. The ball really wasn't entitled to go for that one. Bennett. It's a corner. And the Aston Villa fans in danger of being out-shouted in their own patch. Wolves have hit back territorially. Now they're looking to hit back with an equalising goal.